请问还有什么问题吗？或者是有什么想发言？麦克风移开。
First of all, thank you for your speech. It's really informational. And I just have a couple of questions. First, it is said that Gramsci 5 will be out soon, right? Will be out soon. So I would like to know how would you vision this Gramsci from the previous Gramsci 4? Because Gramsci 4, comparing Gramsci 4 to Gramsci 3 is much more peaceful. But I'm not really sure whether Gramsci 4 has any positive impact, because the 2 days Gramsci and everyone was there, and then it ended really peacefully. But what's the sequence? It's like we don't do anything more other than we cheer for our peacefulness. That's it. So if Gramsci 5 is to be out soon, I wonder how you vision it. Will it have a bigger and better impact, or will it just be another Gramsci? Because if it's just another Gramsci, I think the people might not have the fire in their hearts anymore, because it is just another Gramsci to protest. And then this is my first question regarding Gramsci. Then my second question is, it is also said that the election will be held next year. So how would this latest Gramsci have any effect on the election? Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think the way you put the question precisely also highlights why it's important, I think, for us to learn from Gramsci, actually. Because Gramsci always thinks in terms of, when we talk about earlier the concept of conjunctural analysis, the question is, Gramsci is interested in what is, in this moment, what is the new compared to what has happened before. That's always Gramsci's interpretative line. What is the specificity of this new situation that is different from the past? He's not interested in simple answer. Whether it's class kind of analysis, or change will come through elections, or the kind of simple answers. So in your question, how will Gramsci 4 or 5, which happened after the elections of 2013, in what way is it, will it be effective, right? In what way also how is it different from Gramsci 2 and 3, which is the focus of my talk today, actually? The response that you said from the police force, Gramsci 2 and 3, police crack down on people very strongly. They use tear gas, they beat up people, they arrest people, right? That gave a lot of momentum and sort of social sympathy, solidarity from the wider Malaysian public. But Gramsci 4, after the elections, Gramsci 4 was last year, around July, I think, right? July last year. August last year, yeah. Police totally empty the streets and let you have your rally for 2 days, right? Basically there's no arrest at that time. I mean, of course, which people had a very festive, like a kind of a fiesta kind of feeling, have you come together, sing your songs, have your political speeches. After 2 days, 36 hours, you go home, right? Police didn't do anything. But exactly, we see the tactics of the authorities have changed. And they also, I guess, also pointed out that Gramsci 4, in terms of the racial composition of the participants, many people noticed that Malay participant has dropped as a percentage of the whole. So imagine if 100,000, definitely there was more than 100,000 people who attended. They say only maybe 30% are Malays. Compared to in the past, maybe it's 50-50. So now, the government is trying hard to articulate Gramsci 4 as a more non-Malay dominant kind of movement, right? The other factor is also they only arrest the activists the week after the protest. So they have now a new way. Every single protest you found after the last 2013 election, the arrest now is targeted only at key organizer. They're very smart in that sense. Just targeting like Adam Adli, who is still a Gramsci activist. Yeah. So they will pick up the organizers the week after, one by one, separately. So again, they learn from the experience of not antagonizing the public. But at the same time, I guess this actually one other Malaysian professor did raise a question about some of the points I raised. He said that the problem in Malaysia now is different from what it was in Gramsci 2. Gramsci 2 was about opening up the consciousness of Malaysians. Ordinary Malaysians suddenly all get fired up. Yes, we will not be afraid, we will go and protest. So now the issue is no longer trying to get people to go to the street. It's really the new normal of Malaysian society. Protest is normal, right? But is it going to be effective to bring political or social change? And the way this professor said was, the problem in Malaysia now is that the government knows that they are, the 1MDB scandal, for example. To explain, for Taiwanese friends' background knowledge, Malaysia have this sovereign wealth fund. Sovereign wealth is like, in Singapore, the state has a corporation that invests on behalf of the citizen. So Malaysia also have big corporation that do investments using the people's money, and then the returns from the dividends is paid back to the so-called Malaysian citizens, the public funds. So 1MDB is a scandal tied to the current Prime Minister. He formed a sovereign wealth investment fund, and the US Department of Justice exposed the fact that 1MDB, this corporation, is doing money laundering in USA, buying very expensive property, expensive buildings, right? Buying expensive art, using the people's money to do certain money laundering exercises. The whole world knows. The Wall Street Journal published this report, but the Malaysian government acts like nothing has happened, continued as normal, right? So this, I was saying, I want to quote this Malaysian professor at the conference. Actually, he raised this point, right? He said that of this philosopher called Zizek, Slavoj Zizek, Slovenian political philosopher, cultural theorist. He said that ideology today is different from the ideology of the Marxist times. In the past, people say that you are suffering from ideological, mystification. Is that Marx said that if people don't act based on their interests, it's because they're under false consciousness. You don't realize your true interests, so that's why you behave a certain way. You don't fight for your true interests, right? But Zizek said in the postmodern Western period, ideology functioned in this way. They, I think I'll give the actual words, not to misquote, because it's important. I've been struggling to try to find an answer for this point actually. Yeah, they know very well what they are doing, but still they continue to do it. Ideology in the past is that they don't know what they're doing because they don't know their true interests. So in the past, people say if you can explain to the common person what is their real interest, what should be their political struggle be about, people will gain consciousness to fight for the right cause. But the problem in Malaysia now is that you have a government that they know they are corrupt, but so what? You know, how do you fight this kind of condition? And I think to answer your question precisely, I think Gramsci now is in danger of overly narrowing the articulation of their cause. Instead of what it was about electoral reform, today now it's about anti-corruption actually. So a lot of times, like the Gramsci 4, the people who gather, the speech they give is just attacking Najib. It becomes a personal attack of how corrupt this current Prime Minister is. They're losing the main message of systemic reform of the whole system. It doesn't feel like, yeah, I was saying in my presentation, people were trying to say education loan is a problem, public space is a problem. All these different causes can be articulated in one big chain of social movement. I think the danger now in Malaysia is that linkage is getting narrower and narrower. Gramsci 2, Gramsci 3, there was also the environmental movement, Himpunan Hijau, the green anti-radioactive movement at the time, also took part in the Gramsci 2 and 3. So, in one way to say is that Gramsci up to 2012, that time was a moment where many different social causes find a common moment of articulation using the Gramsci protest. But today Gramsci has become narrowed to very personal about anti-corruption at the Prime Minister. But so the question is the strategy, right? The activists who are in charge of Gramsci now, they think that it's politically strategic to focus on Najib. And that's why Mahathir is not interested to change the system that he is the one who started all the authoritarian government, no fair elections. Mahathir was product, or creator of the system, but he can now articulate himself with Gramsci's cause, because I think to him Gramsci has become narrowed down to just attacking Najib and corruption. So I think, using Gramsci's perspective, what is different now is that Gramsci has become very narrow in terms of its focus. But of course, to be fair to Gramsci is that perhaps the political space, social space for civil society to organize is now much less freedom compared to before the elections of 2013. And because of that lack, diminishing or reducing space, they feel the best way to organize people is to attack Najib personally. That's what I would say for this point. About the elections, in my recent visit to Malaysia last month, talking to some activists, many people predict that ruling party will win big again. Because opposition coalition split actually. Also one of the problems. Why Gramsci 4 last year, they say why so little Malays participated because this group didn't join the protests. This group. Yes. The Islamic groups of Malays, they have now actually split away from the opposition forces. So again, that's why the Malaysia's problem, the social crisis of Malay identity about Islam, is always very connected to the political future. And because Malays are now split between those who want country to become more Muslim, of course don't talk about those who just want to have corporate wealth is a different case, but how about the Malays who want real social democratic reform? That kind of tendency has separated, and they expect that the Islamist party, Anwar's Justice Party, and also the so-called Chinese-dominated opposition party, there will be many multi-cornered fights in the election districts. Another reason why the ruling party lost, right, lost many seats in the past, because all the opposition were united. They only field one candidate to fight with the ruling party. But what I'm saying is that the coming election, you will see 3 or 4 candidates that will split the votes, and to the benefit and advantage of the ruling party. So they expect perhaps ruling party will get back the 2/3 majority. So in that sense, we're still caught in the same conjuncture. We have not moved away from this conjuncture. It keeps repeating because I still have not identified how to break. That's the key question.
请问还有什么其他问题或想发言的吗？
Or even maybe some comment or observation why Taiwan is successful in democratization. For example, I have a question like, I went to see the Human Rights Park today, and I see, Taiwan's experience is it's good for Malaysians to learn, is because the same kind of laws like martial law, sedition law, rebellion, you can be arrested, KMT was the dominant party, and then I was also asking a friend that the DPP experience is a little bit, I think the Reformasi group is quite similar to the DPP example, because Malaysia have such a strong ruling party, civil society is very small, right? So most of the early days, 80s and 90s activists, all of them tend to join together in one opposition party called in Malaysia it's the Anwar's party, the Justice Party. So I thought that somehow, the Taiwan experience is kind of similar. When you wanted to oppose a common enemy, the KMT, DPP was the attraction for all the opposing forces. They don't care what ideology, as long as you're anti-KMT, you can hop into the same platform. I don't know, what would be, seeing what I tried to share about Malaysian example, do you think why Taiwan's example, there is a breakthrough? What do you think? What can Malaysia learn from the Taiwan example?